regardless of the fact that we are attacking your fundamental rights or limiting your fundamental rights, and the Charter says that's wrong, we're still going to go ahead and do with it. It's basically a loophole that allows a majority to override fundamental rights of a minority.
Call halal Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations to the hopeful elect. Shalom, Yasharala. Now, for those of you late to the dinner table, that was Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who myself I've met with on more than one occasion when I was in the world. And what he was making reference to was not the government using a loophole in Canada's Charter of Rights, Canada's Constitution of Rights for the Uninformed, to force you to take the secret sauce. He was speaking to a secularism law known as Bill 21, which stops public sector workers like teachers, police officers, judges, etc. from wearing religious garbs like the hijab and religious symbols like the six-pointed star or crucifix while on the job. What the Quebec government has been doing is preemptively invoking what is called the notwithstanding clause, section 33, go figure, of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms that allows Parliament or provincial legislatures, i.e. federal government, in overriding certain portions of the Charter. Apparently, Monsieur Trudeau is not a big supporter of the idea your religious freedoms and rights to express yourself should be easily infringed upon. But what he can and will do about it remains to be seen. This is Sirach chapter 41 and verse 7, and it reads, "The children will complain of an ungodly father, because they shall be reproached for his sake." And the reason why I brought that out is because it was Justin's father, Elliott Trudeau, who allowed that clause in the Canadian Constitution in the first place, rationalizing its addition by saying it was better to have a charter with the clause than to not have a charter at all. Yet here we have Justin attempting to dance his way out of it, even though it benefits and does nothing less as far as empowering the federal government against the rights of the people anyways. FDR said it best: there are no accidents in politics. If there is an accident, you can bet it was planned that way, roughly paraphrasing. Which is why I say he might as well have been talking about the Crown Vicky or the Amarian, because as long as it sits in the gray area of what Big Brother can do as far as mandates and your so-called inalienable rights, chances are they will use the clause to enforce the mandatory taking of the devil's nectar, and there ain't much the law-abiding, tax-paying citizens can do about it. Isaiah 10:1, "Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed." And this is what I mean by preemptively, because these draconian measures being acted out and soon to be acted on were prescribed, meaning written before the actual scenario presented itself. To do what? Box in and further control the sheeple, particularly you Hebrew Israelites. Let's go to Daniel 6, and we'll read from 1 through 3. And it says this: "It pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 princes, which should be over the whole kingdom, and over these 3 presidents, of whom Daniel was first, that the princes might give accounts unto them, and the king should have no damage. Then this Daniel was preferred above the presidents and princes, because an excellent spirit was in him, and the king thought to set him over the whole realm." Now, the reason why I brought this out was to explain the organized system of government in Babylonia, aka America, Canada, and Mexico, pursuant to their trade agreements, no matter how much the Donald did to change it. Presidents and princes, i.e., modern day prime ministers, senators, governors, and mayors, were appointed to govern each jurisdiction as provinces under authority of the king, or in this case, the showpiece, the showroom piece being the queen. The birthplace of the title president can historically be found here, considering the idea of America being sought after and later instituted by so-called dissenters of baby London, i.e. Babylon, where the king and the queen, the monarchy, were the ruling authority. As it sits today, America, including Canada and Mexico and its United States, is nothing more than a corporation. You voting and the power to vote is nothing more than an illusion to help divide, conquer, and eventually appease what's left of the public. The truth is, your leadership has long been decided because the Virginia Company, the business name of Babylon, and its daughter is owned and sanctioned by Great Britain. And you and I know through study that Great Britain has long been an institution of Rome. So don't be fooled by the optics here, Israel. At first glance, it sounds like the dragon speaking great things and making war with the saints is in full effect, pursuant to Revelation, the 13th chapter, which to a certain extent, of course, it is, considering we know the times we are in. You know what? Let's go to Habakkuk 2:1 quickly. And it says, Habakkuk 2:1, and it says this: I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am, Salakia, reproved. Ergo, the prophets, i.e., we men of the Lord, wait for our instruction from the Heavenly Father, namely, what to say, waiting patiently and measuring the times. When we see it taking place, our job is to report on it and make the meaning of its happening manifest. Verse 2, and the Lord, whose name is Yahweh, answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. Meaning, break it down and make it easy to digest, so that those that hear it can run tell it. Go run tell it and act on it accordingly. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Which brings to mind Matthew 24:42. Watch, therefore ye know not what hour your Lord doth come. This is why we watch the news and the things taking place in the world, so that we can filter the events through the scriptures and the prophecies to gain a better idea of the time when we may be, Yahweh willing, Yahweh Ratazaya, we are a part of that number, we may be delivered. Which speaks to me saying we know the times we are in. How? Because we, with spiritual eyes, can see the prophecies coming to pass. This is how we know we are at the end of days. Now, as I was saying, if you take what Monsieur Trudeau was saying at face value, then it's easy to get lost in the idea that it's just another classic example of dum-dum saying two words too much. Psalm 64:8, so they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away, which is explainable given what's about to come down the turnpike. And I'm speaking about the flee away part, but this is where being circumspect comes into play. Circumspect simply meaning to look all around and not getting caught up in sound bites, which is what I almost did. But, when you take the time as you should in being circumspect, you soon realize that this is more about, once I started doing my research, I saw that it was more about Hegelian dialectics, problem, reaction, solution, and why, even though the story may read Trudeau's disdain for the notwithstanding clause, really it speaks to, no matter the sentiment being shared, their true intentions are always on display, and ergo, the elite can never be trusted. Sirach 12:10 tells us to do what? Never trust thine enemy, especially those in a higher tax bracket. I'll add what I'll do is I'll add a link to a couple of the articles I came across that speak to exactly where we're headed or not in regards to our supposed rights if you reside in the North American area. In any event, let's close with this. This is Psalms 55:21, and it reads, "The words of his mouth," the his being Esau, Edom, the Idumean, the so-called white man, so you can understand, starting with the international bankers and the global elite on down. "The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords." And the sword to be wary of right now is the hot shot. No matter how good Esau says it's gonna get, how much better it's going to be once everybody has acquiesced and vacated their natural bodily rights, don't believe him. He is a liar slash hypocrite. First he said if you took the yab, you'll be all right, but you'll be okay. Yeah, just take it. But by the way, you still got to wear a mask. And wait, hold on. Second thought, why not kick in for the punky booster? But it doesn't mean you still can't get the sickness. Like, where are we going? You're doing too much. You know, it was Dave Chappelle who said, you can't out-hustle the ultimate hustler. Why? Because Yahweh set up E as a sword on the earth, and his superpower is deception. Since the Garden of Eve, he's been made to deceive. With him, there is always a loophole, meaning you got to read the fine print, no matter how great it sounds. And you might want to read the large print, too, while you're at it. Call halal Yahweh Ba Shem Yahweh Shai Ba Shem Dash. Through the power and spirit, I hope you were edified. Double honors unto the elders and apostles of great millstone who teach us 100% truth and rule well. Salutations to the hopeful elect. Remember, no yab, no test, and damn sure, don't take that chip. Shalom, Yasharallah. Kwam Yasharallah, wa ababa ball.